you're concerned to talk about Dorner because it might offend some people.
Well, it's not that. It's just that basically I'm quite interested by the response, really, and the sort of the media response, as well as the sort of public response to Chris Dorner. And it seems to me to have sort of broken down into three sort of factions, if you will. A lot of people are quite pro Chris Dorner because they feel that he's anti-corruption. Maybe he's being set up, which is certainly possible. And a lot of Facebook pages and such have popped up about him, which I'll sort of talk about in a minute. There is also a sort of I've seen that the phrase sort of fighting racism and corruption by any means necessary has been flying around as well. The second faction is a lot of people are very anti him. They say, oh no, he's just a crazed killer, blah, 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 blah. He's killed policemen, which I'll come back to in a second as well. And then the third is people are sort of indifferent because, a lot of people, as we've discussed before, are quite apathetic. Now, the interesting point is that everybody is basing, and I apologies, I can only take it from the English media, which is what I've seen, but it seems to me that everybody seems to be taking their opinions based on suppositions from the actual media, because that's the only place that we're sort of getting any insight into this. And it made me question a number of things. For example, was he unfairly dismissed? Very possibly, but the LAPD have come back and said that, so that's a mystery as yet. Did he actually send this manifesto? The media say he sent this manifesto, but do we actually know that he sent this manifesto, or was it altered in any way before it was presented to the media? Here's one. Did he actually commit the crimes? Did he shoot these people? Again, the media and the police have told us that they did, but I'm not sure if there's been any eyewitnesses, certainly no footage of this. Did he actually die in the fire? Again, we're told by the media and the police that this is the case, but we don't know. We don't know any of this. The only three facts that I can ascertain from the case are that his wallet has been found at least twice, which to me harks of a contrived event. The police, at the very least, allowed the fire to happen at the very least. And the police also attacked innocent bystanders without explaining that they were police or armed police, claiming that they thought they were Chris Dorner, which is an illegal act, and also suggested they were trying to kill this guy out and out. So, those are the only things. Now, I tend to fall on the side that if this is a real event, that he's actually being demonized, he's a whistleblower, and he's actually being demonized to perhaps disguise the crimes or to discredit ex-military gun owners, whistleblowers in general, or just generally gun owners. But it boils down to a few things. For example, I want to know where these Facebook pages have started. Are they real? Who's set them up? Because there's a very interesting thing about polls. Like when you see running up to an election or whatever, you'll see like a poll in the paper saying Cameron is the most popular, or Miliband is the most popular, or whoever. People take that on board, and then in a conversation they'll start saying, you know what, Cameron's the most popular, I know, because I've seen it in a poll. And then that becomes an accepted truism, and then that sort of, redirects back into the general populace. So with Facebook pages and stuff proclaiming him to be a hero, could they be sort of drawing people in to be sort of set into factions to say, right, how can we sort of set up an anti-hero? The power of Facebook and Twitter and YouTube has been shown recently with the fact that Lady Gaga and other artists like this have been forced to remove millions of fake views from their videos. And again, it works on the same principle. You're more likely to watch a video. If you're scouting through videos and you see one that's got 1 view and one that's got 2 million views, you go, oh, well, the one with 2 million views is obviously better, so I'll go and watch that. So this is why I'm suspicious of the Facebook pages. We must remember that the Arab Spring, the London riots, Syria Girl, all of these things are predicated on mysterious Twitter feeds, mysterious Facebook pages, and mysterious social media events that sort of coerce large sections of the public into action, so to speak. Now, to me, the other thing, and again, this is pure speculation, and I appreciate the irony of speculating on speculation, but the two policemen that were actually killed, I'd like to know more about them, because if this is a completely contrived event, that Chris Dorner wasn't guilty for these crimes, as I said, I don't know, this is speculative, who are the two policemen that were killed? Were they perhaps involved in the corruption? Were they perhaps witness to corruption? Were they perhaps potential witnesses that could have supported something of Chris Dorner's story? That is a possibility that needs to be investigated. The whole problem is that basically the media has been complicit in so many cover-ups: the McMartin preschool trial, the Jeffrey MacDonald case, the Franklin incident. At present in England, we've got the sort of Elm House scandal, and we've got the sort of paedophilia, essentially brothels being run by intelligence agencies through Welsh care homes. So the media are obviously complicit in this type of cover-up. Now, to me, this is just my opinion. I believe that if it is a real event, not a contrived event, I believe that he's probably being demonized. But I am of the opinion that it's too good to be true. If I was writing a Hollywood script about this sort of thing, I would take a pro-gun, ex-military, ex-police officer and have him as a disgruntled whistleblower, and have him set off. The other question that needs to be brought into this is perhaps the question of sort of MK Ultra style. But again, this is all speculative. To me, though, the whole case it's got a touch of the Washington Sniper. It's got a touch of Timothy McVeigh. It's got a touch of Waco. It's got a touch of Ruby Ridge. It's got a touch of the Unabomber. It's got a touch of Son of Sam. It's got a touch of Virginia Tech. It very much sounds like the whole incident is a contrived event. And my suggestion is that perhaps this is what's called a shock test. One of the other things that came out of this is the normalization of deploying drones for domestic terrorists, and also the normalization of police killing citizens, or perhaps killing citizens without due process. In the hunt for domestic terrorists, because it's dangerous. What a shock test is, the term comes from, I think it's the manufacture of aeroplanes, where basically what you do is you drop the fuselage from greater and greater heights to see what the effects are. And now a shock test on a sort of social scale is basically introducing something or taking advantage of a situation and manipulating it through the media and through sort of helpful entities like local police and the like, to see what the responses are. So I just wonder whether this whole incident is being played to see how we can direct people, because he is a very polarizing figure. He is, depending on which sort of aspects of the case, you could certainly see why people would be drawn towards him as an anti-hero, but you could also see why people could be drawn towards him as a potential criminal if the case against him is true. John Rawlings reached for the Tavistock Institute basically to get this going. The whole point of the Tavistock Institute is this concept of imposing fear from an exterior point to reduce society to a childlike state, or a tabula rasa, a blank state, so that authoritarian figures can impose the direction of society from an exterior point. And to accomplish this, when the Tavistock Institute was first being founded, he was sending people out called shock troops. And these were people that were going to psychological institutions like Stanford. They were working in MIT. They were starting working in Harvard, the Wharton School of Economics, and various other institutes across the world to spread this concept. And so I believe that it's very possible that through the construction of an event like this, and through various institutional figures, shock troops essentially, that it is certainly possible that an event like this could be maintained and manufactured in the public eye purely to just test the response. It's a stimuli response test. And therefore, basically, we're going to see in which ring do people put their hats. And once we've done that, we can then act on it. So, I'd just be very, very careful about making allegiances based on material that comes from rotten sources.
It would be the way to treat a whistleblower. I mean, you just silence them, demonize them, and not give them a moment's pause to relax.
I think it's very interesting that he feels that he was ousted for exposing corruption. The LAPD, the Rampart scandal, the connections to the Biggie Smalls murder and Death Row Records, and and also the murder of Tupac Shakur. The LAPD is not averse to getting its fingers, its feet wet in the murky world of organised crime. That's certainly true. My concern is that it is quite Hollywood. But again, is that the Hollywood presentation of the media, or is that the Hollywood construction of the entire contrived event? And I will say again, I do not know at the minute, but I think that these are the angles that people need to investigate. I think that you're probably absolutely correct that he was a whistleblower. But again, I wonder if the concept of him being a whistleblower is to warn other whistleblowers. So is that a real event, or is that a contrived event? And I do not know. I mean, the whole scenario, the whole thing could be completely made up. And that's my point. If it's genuine, if the whole thing is genuine, yes, I believe that he did blow the whistle and he's being attacked for that, because that's what he did. But my worry is that the entire scenario, every single thing that's been presented to us so far, is a psychological operation.